And if you look at the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about the hot button issue of the train stabbing or shuttle stabbing, whatever the heck it is. We're going to be talking about that because it's a topic that needs to be discussed. So, those of you that are new here, welcome. Thank you for viewing what I have to offer. And those of you that have been here before, welcome back. Thank you so much. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Yeah, it's free, doesn't cost anything, and it just gets the information I'm putting out there to everybody else. So, because I get a lot of you guys who watch, but not everybody subscribes. So let's fix that. That'd be great. So I do apologize in advance. I am going to be looking at my phone because that's where my notes are. So if I'm not looking at the camera, that is why. I can get it to open. There we go. So if you've been living under a rock and have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, let me tell you. So on August 22nd, 2025, 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee Iryna Zarutska was fatally stabbed in an apparently random attack while riding the Lynx Blue Line light rail train in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's a light rail train. That's a lot to say. The incident occurred at the East West Boulevard station in the city's South End neighborhood, sparking widespread public outrage, debates on public safety, and criticism of the U.S. judicial and mental health systems. The suspect, 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr., was arrested at the scene and faces both state and federal charges, including first-degree murder. Um, so that's just a basic rundown. Now, Iryna Zarutska was born in 2002 in Kiev, Ukraine, and fled to the U.S. in 2022. And yeah, she was a gifted kid. She learned English quickly, and she pursued her education and career aspirations. She had a degree in art and restoration from Synergy College. Heck, she could have worked with me. That's what I kind of do, but it's with documents. And she was also studying at Rowan Carberist Community College to become a veterinary assistant. And at the time, she was working at Zapetti's Pizzeria and was a very gifted and passionate artist. That is her story. Now, the stabbing took place shortly before 10 p.m. On August 22nd, 2025. Now, they show her boarding the train sitting in front of Brown. She was wearing her AirPods and scrolling on her phone with no prior interaction with the suspect. Let's see. Approximately 4 minutes later, Brown stabbed her 3 times, twice in the chest and once in the throat, using a foldable pocket knife. The attack was unprovoked, and Zarutska was pronounced dead at the scene despite emergency efforts. Now, this is where I have an issue with this. You see her sit down. You see him, he's kind of doing this. He's just looking out the window, not paying attention. And then he sees her, and he just kind of sits there. And she's just like on her phone, like, doing whatever. And then you see him take the knife out. You see him unfold the knife. And then you see stab, stab, stab. Now, here's what you haven't seen, or it just got released today. He gets up and he walks towards the other end of the car. And she's just sitting there, like, in shock, like, okay, he stabbed me? Like, what's going on? And then you got people on this side, and there's a guy in a gray sweatshirt who immediately hops up and walks forward. And you see DeCarlos Brown Jr. walking around with this knife, and it's just dripping blood all over the floor. It's just dripping everywhere. And the new video that's come out has more, actually has vocal, you can hear his sound. And you hear the guy in the gray sweatshirt see DeCarlos Brown say, "You just stabbed that woman back there. You just stabbed that woman." And DeCarlos Brown is saying things, but none of it's intelligible. Not a clue. But what gets me the most is the fact that not one person got up to help this woman and give her aid. I mean, I think if somebody had hopped up, grabbed like a jacket or a t-shirt or whatever and pressed it on her wounds, put pressure on it, that could have given her a fighting chance. And I know if it had been me, I would have been able to do that, but I'm not afraid of people. But the inaction is what gets me. But her death is preventable simply because DeCarlos Brown had no business being on that train, and let me explain why. So, Carlos Brown Jr., 34, is a homeless individual with a lengthy criminal history dating back to 2011. His record includes convictions for armed robbery, for which he served over 5 years in prison, felony larceny, breaking and entering, assault, communicating threats, and misuse of the 911 system. Brown has been diagnosed with schizophrenia and experienced mental health crises, including a 2-week involuntary psychiatric commitment in 2023 arranged by his mom. Due to the erratic and aggressive behavior, his mother eventually evicted him from her home, and this contributed to his homelessness. Let's see. And then, yeah, he's just more run-ins. Now, he was supposed to be on a mental health evaluation. He got arrested again, and they were supposed to do a mental health evaluation, but it never happened in July of this year. So he is being charged with first-degree murder by the state, and he's actually getting charged federally for committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system. Now, like I said, I did not know this law existed. It's crazy because I can think of many stories where people have gotten stabbed or killed on a subway or a bus or whatever, and none of those people ever get charged. The stabbers or the killers never gets charged with any federal crime for that. So I don't know if this is a new thing or they're just like, yeah, we're just going to make a point of this and do this. I don't know. So right now, as it stands, he's in jail. He has no bond, and he's on a 60-day mental health hold. So they're trying to get him evaluated, I guess, to confirm whether or not he's schizophrenic or what was going on. Um, if he is convicted on the federal charge, he could either get max, like life in prison or the death penalty. So he does run the risk of getting the death penalty here. With his mental health situation, I don't know if he deserves to die. He's schizophrenic. You know, my grandmother was a severe schizophrenic, apparently a very violent one. My late husband's aunt Jackie is a paranoid schizophrenic, likes to set things on fire, kind of thing. And she is somebody who needed to be institutionalized, and they never did. In my opinion, he should have been institutionalized. There's no way on earth he should have been out on the street. I know his mother kicked him out of the house, and we can't really blame her per se, because you can only do so much when someone is like that. However, she should have helped get him help, get him somewhere. So there's that. But we are, as a country, do not have enough mental health facilities, do not have enough help for people like this. I mean, he's not a military person. Look at all the military vets that have PTSD and have just gone crazy and hurt people because they just did not get the help that they need. And it's ongoing. It's just absolutely ongoing. It's ridiculous. And I don't know why this keeps happening, with these people. But her death was completely preventable. I mean, 1, he shouldn't have been loose. 2, the people on the train next to her should have rendered her aid. Okay? This whole I'm gonna turn aside, turn away and not help people is bullshit. Grow a pair, help somebody. I know I would. And yeah, completely preventable. Like I said, I know this has become a federal case and I am curious to see, where this goes, but she was alive. I mean, I honestly thought with the first video that came out where you just saw it, like, it was cut up a little bit, I'm thinking once he stabbed her and it cuts to him being at, like, the sub door and the blood dripping off the knife, I thought she was already dead based off all the blood coming off that knife. Now it's she was alive and she was in shock. And what the heck? Why didn't somebody go over there and help her? Why didn't someone call 911? Why didn't somebody stop the damn train? That's why they had those emergency buttons. I don't understand. I don't understand. So, here's my thing, I don't know if he deserves to die, but he definitely needs to be institutionalized somewhere. And that's gonna be a tough case for whatever jury gets this, because they have to determine whether or not this guy is gonna get the death penalty. Crazy, right? And I have never served on a jury, so there you go. But he is definitely somebody, they need to evaluate him. And if he is as bad off as I think he is, He needs to be institutionalized and never come out again. So, there you have it. There's my take on Iryna Zarutska. Death was completely preventable. All right, y'all. So I am gonna hop off here. As I said before, if you're new here, subscribe. If you've been here before and have not already subscribed, subscribe. Subscribe. Yeah. Share, like, comment, all that good stuff. And as I always say, be weird, be rude, be safe. Because if you're weird and rude, they won't take you. I guarantee it. So good night, everyone, and thank you again for tuning in. And this is the unfortunate case of Iryna Zarutska. Bye.